Hello everyone, welcome to Redmen TV. It's starting 11 prediction time. Yeah, we have to put the Man City game to bed for a bit. I'm still clearly not fully recovered from it, and I'm sure most of you are the same as well. What a mad few days it's been. We've got loads and loads of content around that on the website right now. Just recorded a podcast with Andy Kelly, formerly the Liverpool Echo, looking ahead to the Champions League draw tomorrow. We'll be live for that as well. Chris will be back here in the studio for that, which is why he's not here today. So fear not, Chris Pajak is alive and well, he's alive. We played five-a-side last night, me, him and Tom and Jamie. And yeah, that's four. That should tell you everything you need to know. Anyway, Bournemouth, let's think about that now. I've done this a little bit arse about it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm going to put out first the players I think are nailed on to start this game. And that starts with Loris Karius in goal, of course. Nathaniel Klein will start at right back. Jordan Henderson will start in the six. Past that, I have a good idea, and I'm going to spell that out in a moment. But I think there's a case to be made for two approaches to this game. It is make as many changes as humanly possible. For two reasons. It's to let the lads who put in all those exertions at the Etihad have a little bit of a rest, but also to get some minutes in the legs of players who've maybe been on the fringe, kind of like the Everton thing, split the teams up so you've got your big game team and you've got the rest of the games team. I don't think Klopp will go with it. I think he will go strong. As a result, I've then gone from the balance of likelihood. No Emre Can, we know this. James Milner has played so much footy. I don't think Milner will start another game. So I think the midfield three will be Gini Wijnaldum and Oxlade-Chamberlain, combining with Jordan Henderson in there. Going to the defence, I want to put Ragnar Klavan in it, but because he's left-footed, and I think we would rather keep Van Dijk in and keep him in his natural position. I think you might see. I think Lovren was the most likely to be rested because we've rested him quite a lot this season. He's been very in and out of the side when we've had Matip. I can't see Klavan coming in and playing on the right-hand side. We could see Van Dijk play on the right-hand side and Klavan coming there. There's a possibility, but I'm not sure you're making two changes to make one change, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure we'll do that. There'll be a lot of calls for Moreno, and I think that's a very, very strong shout, a very strong possibility. I think we'll keep with Robertson. Because I think Jurgen will look to make as few changes as possible. And of course, this is all fitness allowing, but I think we will go best foot forward with Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino and Sadio Mane leading the line. Why? Because we've got a week break between this game and the West Brom game. Yes. So I think that's plenty of time for recovery for these guys. Now, we don't know where Mo Salah's at. And if it was a real risk and we really pushed him for the Etihad, then don't be shocked to see him come out of that side. What we might see is a little bit of rejigging. I'll go through the bench and then I'll talk you through the rest of my thoughts on this. Simon Mignolet, of course. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Alberto Moreno. Ragnar Klavan. James Milner. Dominic Solanke. And Danny Ings. Now, a few of you watching this not live will be saying, but Paul, there's a picture of Ben Woodburn on the thumbnail. You're correct. I did change my mind significantly in the time between taking that photo and doing this. That's how tough this is. I think there's a possibility we'll see Woodburn if the circumstances say Mohamed Salah, we've gone, look, we gambled too much playing him in the Etihad. He has to come out. Let's just say he doesn't even get into the squad. I think there's a case to be made where one of two things happens. You either put Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on the wing and you put Ben Woodburn into midfield, or you do the same again where Oxlade-Chamberlain comes into midfield, Mane goes over to the right and Woodburn comes in on the left because we've seen him play. We've seen him play predominantly in the front three last year. In pre-season, we saw him actually play here, which was the Phil Coutinho midfield position to some extent. Obviously, we've switched that over a little bit as the season's progressed this time around. So I think it's a possibility Ben Woodburn might get the nod. As another outside alternative to all this, we know that in the Champions League group stages, we rested a couple of players for the Merseyside derby at the end of the Spartak game. And in that, we put Dominic Solanke up front with Mane and Salah. I think if anyone's going to be rested, based on the minutes played, it's likely to be Sadio Mane over anyone. I don't know. It's a very, very tough one. I want to know from you, if you're watching live, or in fact after the fact, in the comments right now, who are the nailed-on starters in this team? whether it's if it's as few as 3 or more, list them, and Tom's going to read through a few in a moment. And if there's anything you think I've got wildly wrong in this and some reasons behind it why, get to a comment in a moment. But yeah, other than that, it's the only other alternatives to add to the bench. Of course, Ben Woodburn, Conor Masterson, and maybe a Curtis Jones. But past that, this is the players that Liverpool have got available to them right now. But if you think I'm missing anyone again, let me know in the comments. Tom Dutton, what's going on?
Cop-Out Legend asks, why won't Moreno play?
I think, look, Moreno might very well play. I think logic would follow that it's good to get him some minutes because he's not played a lot of football. I've gone with Robertson because I think Klopp will look to make as few changes as possible. I think you look to the West Ham game, which was after the first leg of the Porto game. Big energy sapping away trip in the Champions League. We put our best foot forward. We put a stronger team out as possible, and then we subbed all 3 of the front line. I think we might see something similar in this. I think Klopp and his team appreciate that this top 4 race could be pretty much done and dusted with a couple more wins under our belt. Listen, if we beat Bournemouth, West Brom and Stoke, that'll be top. I think that's enough to secure top 3, or at least to make it more or less academic. So I think we will go as strong as we physically can to try and get this done. Because if you pick up 3 points here and you get 3 points against West Brom, then you allow yourself a little bit more comfort zone for failure to some extent, and it means you can focus on the semi-finals of the Champions League, which right now have to be a massive, massive focus of import.
Twizzler01 says, switch Genie and Hendo. I believe he'll stay with 6 with Hendo box to box.
That's an interesting shout, because, I mean, it makes sense. We saw Genie Wijnaldum do that in the Merseyside derby in advance of him playing the game at the Etihad. We know that. That's a very interesting shout, because we know Emre Can's out for the rest of the season, or that's the story going around at present time. It makes sense to get Genie Wijnaldum some more minutes in that, just to get him more familiar with the role. He struggled first half in the Etihad. He really came out of his shell, and he ended up being one of the most pivotal players on the pitch for us once he really found his feet in that game. So, no, that's an interesting... for the sake of argument, I mean, ultimately, it's only about the starting 11. That's all I've got to get right. The positions can sort themselves out on the day. But no, I think that's an interesting show, Tom.
Chris says, I don't want Salah to get an injury, but I want him to beat the greedy prick for Golden Boot. Tough decision.
He's talking about the big-tongued one himself, Harry Kane there. No, I agreed. 1 goal away from 40 for the season in all competitions. Mo Salah will want to play. There's absolutely no doubt in that. He'll want to play every game between now and the end of the season. It's just down to the fitness guys. They'll have a spreadsheet, they'll have some sort of algorithm, and they'll know how many minutes he's basically allowed to play in this game. I think we'll play him. I do. I think if he's available to play, I think if they can get 60 minutes out of him, they'll play him for 60 minutes. Again, he's got a full week to recover after that. He doesn't necessarily then have to go to West Brom if you don't need him. So no, I'd play him for the goals.
A few nailed on comments. Sam Martin says Klein, Hendo, Karius, Salah. BK48 says Firmino, Karius, Klein. Thomas Owen says Ox, Lovren, Hendo and Karius.
Yeah, I think the Oxlade-Chamberlain one, he's almost certain to start this game. I agree, and I think that's a good shout. One more, Tom.
Let's see. Okay, I'll get one. I've already got. Edgar Prado says, I'd like to see Woodburn get a run out, but it's too important of a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we might just see that if Liverpool do get top 4 boxed off in the next few games, you might see Woodburn against Chelsea, you might see him in the Brighton game, and I think he deserves that. I think he's put in a great shift. He's been unfortunate not to get his games this season. The League Cup runs hampered that, and just the form of the guys in the positions that he plays in, unfortunately. So, yeah, there you go. That's my starting 11 prediction for Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Check back on the channel. The Uncensored Match build-up show is out today as well, where I do something completely different to that. Chris is on that as well. Great show. And if you want more, if you're not over the Man City thing, go to the redmentv.com. The Final Word show, an hour talking about the game. Chris Pajak's stats and tactics show, looking into how that victory was secured in depth and detail, if you're into the in-depth stuff and the stuff that really, the nuts and bolts of football. just done a podcast with Andy Kelly, which is going out later, looking ahead to the Champions League draw. The Man of the Match podcast was immediately recorded after that game. We've got so much amazing stuff, and there's a world exclusive interview with Jamie Carragher as well, back in front of camera for the first time, and it's on the redmentv.com. So get over there, sign up, join us. It is amazing. Perfect time to sign up. Start your free month, and I shall see you over there. Ta-ra.